The celebration on Unity's Hope Station lasted well into the night, by Earth time standards. Aliens who had avoided the humans just days before now approached freely, asking questions about Earth and its people. The Kreth delegation shared something that might have been alcohol, though it tasted like sweet tree sap to Hayes. The Prim performed a light display that was apparently their equivalent of music. The Ashani taught Commander Morgan a traditional greeting dance that involved complicated hoof movements. Captain Daniel Hayes stood on an observation deck, away from the main celebration, watching the stars. The Valiant hung in space nearby, its dark hull barely visible against the black of space except where reflected starlight caught the edges of its armor. "You're not enjoying the party?" a voice said behind him. Hayes turned to see Speaker Velton approaching. She moved with that elegant grace that seemed natural to her species. "Just thinking," Hayes replied. "A lot has changed in a short time." Felton stood beside him, looking out at the same view. "I owe you an apology, Captain Hayes. When you arrived, I saw only danger. I saw teeth and claws and weapons. I did not see the being behind them." "You were protecting your people," Hayes said. "I understand that instinct. It is a good instinct. But it blinded me to the truth," Velton continued. "The Council has been afraid for so long. Afraid of conflict, afraid of violence, afraid of anything that reminds us of the predators that once hunted our ancestors. We built our entire civilization on the idea that we had evolved beyond such things." She turned to look at Hayes directly. "But we did not evolve beyond violence. We simply became fortunate enough to never need it. Our worlds are safe. Our evolution removed natural predators. We forgot that the rest of the universe is not so kind. And when pirates came, when dangers arose, we had no answer except to hide and hope they went away." "You developed other strengths," Hayes said. "Science, art, philosophy. These have value too." "Yes, but they do not stop pirates from killing innocent merchants. They do not protect the weak from the strong." Felton's voice was sad. "I am old enough to remember when we could have stopped the pirate problem before it grew. But we were too civilized, too enlightened, too afraid of becoming violent ourselves. So we did nothing, and good people died because of our inaction." Hayes was quiet for a moment. "On Earth we have a saying, the only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good people to do nothing. You are good people, Speaker Velton. You just need good people who are willing to do something. And that is what Earth offers. Warriors who fight for the right reasons." Velton nodded slowly. "This will not be easy. Many species are still afraid of you. They voted for your membership because they needed protection. But fear and need are not the same as trust." "Trust is earned," Hayes said. "We know that. We do not expect instant acceptance. We just want the chance to prove ourselves." "You will have that chance," Velton promised. "The Council is drafting plans for this new defense force. They want Earth to help design it, train it, lead it. This is unprecedented. We have never had anything military before." "Then we will start small," Hayes suggested. "A few ships, mixed crews of humans and Council species. We learn to work together before we try anything large-scale. That is wise." Velton hesitated, then asked, "Captain Hayes, may I ask you a personal question?" "Of course, you are a warrior. You have fought battles, seen violence, experienced loss. Does it not affect you? Does it not make you hard and cold?" Hayes thought about his years in service, the friends he had lost, the difficult decisions he had made, the weight of command that never left his shoulders. "It affects me every day," he admitted. "Every battle, every death, every choice. They stay with you. But that is important. The day I stop feeling those things is the day I stop being human. The day violence becomes easy is the day I become the monster you feared. So you carry the weight of your actions. We all do. Every soldier, every officer. We do not glorify war. We do what is necessary and we live with the cost. That is what separates guardians from conquerors." Velton was silent, processing this. Finally, she said, "I am glad Earth is joining the Council. And I am glad we have this conversation. It helps me understand." They stood together for a while longer, watching the stars. Two beings from different worlds, different evolutionary paths, different philosophies, but finding common ground in the desire to protect and serve. Eventually, Hayes returned to the celebration. He found his crew scattered throughout the party, mixing with the aliens. Commander Morgan was teaching a group of Ashani about Earth poker, using colored stones as chips. Lieutenant Bishop was in deep discussion with several Velok about comparative cultural development. Sergeant Murphy and Corporal Chen were demonstrating human dance moves to an enthusiastic crowd of Kreth who seemed to find human movement patterns fascinating. Lieutenant Palmer found Hayes in the crowd. "Sir, we are receiving messages from Earth. The government wants a full report. And sir, the news networks are going crazy. Somehow word got out about first contact. People are celebrating in the streets." Hayes smiled. "Tell them we succeeded. Earth is now a member of the Galactic Council, and we are going to help keep the galaxy safe." "Already done, sir. They are very proud." As the night continued, Hayes noticed something interesting. Aliens were naturally gravitating toward the humans, especially the younger ones. They were curious, asking endless questions about Earth, about human culture, about what it was like to be a predator species. The fear was still there in some, but it was being replaced by fascination. One young Ashani, barely more than a child by the look of her, approached Hayes shyly. "Excuse me, Captain Hayes. Is it true that humans have many different languages and cultures on one planet?" Hayes knelt down to be closer to her eye level. "Yes, that is true. Earth has hundreds of different cultures, thousands of languages. We are very diverse, and you fight each other sometimes. Sometimes, yes. But we also help each other. We share and cooperate. Being different does not mean being enemies." The young Ashani thought about this. "I was scared when your ship arrived. It looked so big and dangerous. But you saved Captain Zekthal. You did not have to, but you did. Why?" It was the same question the Kreth captain had asked. Hayes gave the same answer. "Because it was right. Because someone needed help and we could give it." "That is a good reason," the young Ashani said seriously. "I think I am not scared of you anymore." Her parent appeared, looking embarrassed, and apologized for the child bothering him. But Hayes waved it off. No apology needed. Children ask the best questions. As the celebration finally wound down and the various delegations began returning to their ships, Hayes gathered his crew for the trip back to the Valiant. "Well, team, we did what we came here to do," he said. "Earth is part of the galactic community now. The real work begins tomorrow." "What happens next, sir?" Palmer asked. "Next we go home. We report to our government. We help design this new defense force, and then we come back out here and we prove that humanity deserves the trust the Council has given us." "No pressure." "Then," Morgan said with a grin, back aboard the Valiant, Hayes stood on the bridge and gave the order he had been waiting to give for days. "Helm, set course for Earth. Take us home." As the massive warship turned toward humanity's home star, Hayes reflected on everything that had happened. They had arrived as unknowns, feared and suspected. They had faced prejudice and distrust. They had been offered membership only as subordinates, controlled and restricted, but they had not accepted that. Instead, they had acted according to their nature, not as mindless predators, but as protectors. They had saved lives when others could only watch. They had shown mercy when they could have shown violence. They had offered their strength in service of the weak, and the galaxy had seen them for what they truly were. Warriors, yes. Predators, yes. But warriors who chose to defend rather than destroy. Predators who hunted pirates and protected prey. "Sir, we are receiving a message from Unity's Hope," Palmer said. "It is from Captain Zekthal. Put it through." The Kreth captain appeared on screen. "Captain Hayes, I wanted to thank you again before you departed. And I wanted to tell you something. The merchant clans are spreading the word about what happened here. Throughout the galaxy, people will know that Earth came when they were needed. That humans are not monsters, but heroes." "We are just people doing our jobs," Hayes replied. "That is what makes you heroes," Zekthal said. "Anyone can fight. But you fight for others. That is rare in this galaxy. That is precious. Safe travels, Captain Hayes, and please come back soon. The galaxy needs more humans in it." The transmission ended. Hayes looked around his bridge at his crew, all of them proud and tired and ready to go home. "The galaxy needs more humans in it," he repeated quietly. "That is high praise from a species that was terrified of us 3 days ago." "We changed their minds," Bishop said. "By being ourselves. By showing them that predators are not always villains. Sometimes," Morgan added, "the scariest monsters make the best guardians, because we understand what real monsters look like. We know what they are capable of. And we know how to stop them." Hayes nodded. That was the truth of it. Humanity had evolved as hunters, as fighters, as survivors in a harsh world. 4 hours after the battle, Captain Daniel Hayes returned to Unity's Hope Station. This time the reception was very different. The docking bay was not empty. Dozens of aliens waited there, representing many different species. As Hayes and his team walked down the shuttle ramp, The aliens moved closer instead of backing away. Some made gestures that Lieutenant Bishop quietly identified as signs of respect in various cultures. The Kreth were there in force. Captain Zekthal stood at the front of a group of his people, all of them clicking and chittering excitedly. When Hayes approached, Zekthal lowered his head in what seemed like a bow. "Captain Hayes, my crew wishes to thank you personally. You saved 23 lives today. In Kreth culture, this creates a debt of honor. We owe you our lives." Hayes felt uncomfortable with the formality. "You owe us nothing, Captain Zekthal. We were happy to help." "That makes the debt even greater," Zekthal said. "You expect nothing and yet gave everything. This is true nobility." Other aliens approached, wanting to speak to the humans. A Prim floated closer, its translucent body pulsing with colored lights. "The Prim Collective wishes to express admiration for Earth's actions. We have suffered from pirate attacks for many years. The Council always arrives too late. You arrived in time. This means much to us." An Ashani stepped forward, not Velton but another member of her species. "I am Kar-El, representative of the Ashani colonies. Many of our merchant ships travel dangerous routes. We have lost crews to raiders. To see someone actually protect the innocent, not just discuss it in chambers, this gives us hope." Hayes nodded to each of them, accepting their words but feeling the weight of expectation building. These species saw Earth as saviors now, protectors. That was a heavy responsibility. Speaker Velton appeared, walking through the crowd with grace and purpose. "Captain Hayes, the Council has reconvened. We are ready to continue our discussions if you are willing." "We are here for exactly that purpose," Hayes replied. The walk to the Council chamber felt different this time. Aliens did not shy away or whisper nervously. Some actually nodded in greeting. Others made those respectful gestures Bishop had mentioned. The atmosphere had shifted from fear to curiosity, from suspicion to cautious acceptance. The Council chamber itself looked the same, but the arrangement was different. The gap that had isolated Earth's position was gone. Several delegations had moved closer. The Kreth stood nearby, as did the Prim and several others. Velton took her position at the center and raised her hands for silence. Members of the Council, honored guests. We gather again to discuss Earth's application for membership. However, recent events have provided new information for our consideration. The crystalline Velk representative spoke up. The Velk Collective has reviewed the incident. Earth's military response was efficient, precise, and proportional. No unnecessary force was used. The pirates were disabled, not destroyed. The merchant crew was saved without casualties. This demonstrates not just capability but restraint and judgment. A murmur of agreement rippled through the chamber. Another alien stood, one Hayes did not recognize. It looked like a large seal with multiple flippers and wise ancient eyes. "I am Elder Prim of the Prim Collective. I have served on this council for 60 years. In that time, we have discussed the problem of pirates many times. We have formed committees. We have written reports. We have created security patrols that are always too far away when they are needed. And in 60 years, the problem has only grown worse." The elder paused, looking directly at Hayes. Earth solved the problem in 42 seconds, not with committees or reports, with action, with courage, with the willingness to stand between the strong and the weak. "This is what we have been missing," Velton spoke carefully. "Elder Prim, are you suggesting that the Council needs Earth's military capability?" "I am suggesting that the Council needs Earth's warrior spirit," the elder replied. "We prey species have built a civilization on peace and cooperation. These are good things, but we have forgotten that peace must sometimes be defended. We have no one who understands how predators think, how raiders operate, how to actually protect instead of just discussing protection." An Ashani representative stood, one Hayes had not heard speak before. "I am Venka of the merchant clans. My people move goods between worlds. We face pirates constantly. When we call for help, the Council sends forms to fill out. Earth sent a warship. Which one saved lives today?" More aliens were standing now, adding their voices. Species that had been quiet during the first meeting were speaking up. Hayes realized that many Council members had been frustrated with their own government's ineffectiveness, but had been too polite or too afraid to say so. Earth's actions had given them permission to speak honestly, but not everyone was convinced. The bird-like alien from before spoke, its 6 wings fluttering with agitation. "This is dangerous thinking. We are discussing giving weapons and authority to a predator species. Yes, they helped one merchant ship. But what happens when they decide to use those weapons for themselves? What happens when the predators remember they are predators? Hayes had remained silent until now, letting the council debate. But this required a response. He stepped forward. You ask what happens when we remember we are predators. I will tell you. We already know what we are. We have always known. Humans are not in denial about our nature. We have teeth. We have aggressive instincts. We have a capacity for violence that frightens you. He paused, looking around the chamber. But we also have something else. We have choice. Every single day, every single human makes a choice. We can give in to our aggressive instincts, or we can control them. We can use our strength to take, or we can use it to protect. Our entire civilization is built on that choice. Commander Morgan stepped up beside him. You prey species evolved in a world where running away was the best option. You never had to make the choice between attacking and defending, between taking and giving. You just survived by avoiding conflict. We respect that, but do not assume it makes you morally superior. It just makes you different. Lieutenant Bishop added her voice, the academic making a philosophical point. The Council fears that Earth will become aggressive, that we will use our power for conquest. But consider our history. Yes, we fought many wars, but we also created laws to limit warfare. We developed concepts like human rights, rules of engagement, protection for civilians. We built systems to control our aggressive instincts because we know what happens when they run wild. We learned these lessons in blood and pain. You never had to learn them because you never needed them. The bird alien looked uncertain now. So you are saying Earth has control over its violent nature? We are saying we work at it every day, Hayes replied honestly. We are not perfect. We make mistakes. But we try. And when someone needs protection, when innocents are threatened, our predator instincts serve a good purpose. We run toward danger, not away from it. We stand between the victim and the aggressor. That is what predators can do when they choose to be guardians. Belton looked thoughtful. You speak of choice and control. But how can we be certain you will always make the right choice? What guarantees can Earth provide? Hayes smiled slightly. The same guarantees you provide. None. You ask us to trust that you will act in good faith. We ask the same. If you cannot trust Earth to make good choices, then you cannot trust us at all. And if you cannot trust us, then this entire discussion is meaningless. The chamber fell silent. It was a bold statement, almost a challenge. Hayes was essentially saying the Council had to decide. Accept Earth as an equal or reject them entirely. No middle ground. No provisional membership with restrictions. The Velk representative stood, its crystalline body refracting the starlight. The Velk Collective proposes immediate full membership for Earth, with no probationary period. Furthermore, we suggest that Earth's military expertise be recognized as a Council asset. We propose the creation of a Council defense force, with Earth providing leadership and training. The chamber erupted in shocked conversations. This was far more than anyone had expected. Belton raised her hands for silence. This is a radical proposal. Creating a military force goes against everything the Council has stood for. The Council stands for protecting its members, the Velk said firmly. We have failed at that protection. We have let pirates prey on our merchants because we did not want to acknowledge that sometimes peace requires strength. Perhaps it is time we learned from Earth. Not to become predators ourselves, but to understand that having allies who are predators is not a weakness. It is wisdom. More voices joined in support. The Prim, the Kreth, several Ashani, even some species Hayes did not recognize. The mood in the chamber had shifted dramatically. Belton looked at Hayes. Captain Hayes, if the Council were to accept this proposal, would Earth be willing to take on such responsibility? To train and lead a defense force? To protect species that have feared you? Hayes thought carefully before answering. This was not just about Earth's membership anymore. This was about fundamentally changing humanity's role in the galaxy. Speaker Velton, Earth would be honored to help protect the Council and its members, but we would not want to lead your defense force. We would want to serve alongside your people, to teach and learn together. The shuttle raced back to the Valiant, moving faster than safety regulations probably allowed. Captain Daniel Hayes sat in the pilot's seat himself, pushing the small craft to its limits. Behind him, Commander Morgan was already on the communications system, talking to the crew aboard the Valiant. Lieutenant Palmer, this is Morgan. Prepare the ship for immediate combat operations. Warm up the main weapons. Launch our fighter screen. We have hostiles to engage. Ma'am, we are receiving messages from the Council. They are ordering us to stand down. They say we do not have authorization to take military action. Morgan looked at Hayes, who did not take his eyes off the controls. Tell them we are responding to a distress call. That is our authorization. Humans do not abandon people in danger. Yes, ma'am. The Valiant grew larger in the window. Hayes had always thought it was a beautiful ship, in a harsh and functional way. It was not elegant like the alien vessels. It was built for war, designed to take punishment and deliver destruction. Right now, that was exactly what they needed. The shuttle docked roughly and the team ran through the corridors to the bridge. Crew members snapped to attention as Hayes passed, then immediately returned to their stations. Everyone could feel the tension, the energy of approaching battle. On the bridge, Lieutenant Palmer looked relieved to see his captain. Sir, we have the distress signal on sensors. 3 hostile vessels are attacking a Kreth merchant ship. The merchant has minimal weapons and failing shields. Hayes dropped into his command chair. Tactical, give me details on the hostiles. Lieutenant Commander Jake Turner, a veteran officer with gray hair and steady hands, studied his displays. 3 ships, Captain. Corsair-class design, common among pirates and scavengers. They use ion weapons primarily, designed to disable ships for boarding rather than destroy them. They want the cargo intact. Smart, Morgan said, but not smart enough to know we are coming. How long until we can intercept? Hayes asked. 12 minutes at standard military speed, sir. Not good enough. Push the reactor to maximum combat power. Get us there in 8 minutes. Turner's eyes widened slightly. Sir, that will drain our fuel reserves significantly. We would need to refuel before returning to Earth space. The Council station has fuel, Hayes said. If they refuse to sell it to us, we will find it elsewhere. Right now, lives are more important than logistics. Aye, sir. Maximum power. The Valiant surged forward, its massive engines burning brighter than any star. The ship was designed for this, built to move fast despite its enormous size. Earth's engineers had created something that could hunt like a predator and strike like a hammer. Sir, the raiders are hailing us, Palmer reported. They say this is their salvage operation and we should back off. They are claiming legal rights under some pirate code I have never heard of. Are they targeting us? Not yet, sir. I think they are confused. They probably have never seen a ship like ours before. Hayes allowed himself a grim smile. Then let us educate them. Open a channel, Palmer nodded. Channel open, sir. Attention, pirate vessels. This is Captain Daniel Hayes of the United Earthship Valiant. You are attacking an innocent merchant crew. You will cease your attack immediately. Power down your weapons and withdraw from this area. You have 30 seconds to comply. This is your only warning. Hayes closed the channel and looked at Turner. What are they doing? They are still firing on the Kreth ship, sir. Shields at 15% and dropping. The merchant crew does not have much time. Are the pirates moving? No, sir, they are holding position. Then they made their choice. Prepare to engage. The Valiant dropped out of faster-than-light travel directly between the pirates and their prey. The massive warship appeared like an avenging angel, blocking the line of fire. The Kreth merchant vessel was spinning slowly, atmosphere leaking from multiple breaches, its shields flickering like a dying light. For 3 seconds, nothing happened. Hayes could imagine the pirates staring at their sensors, trying to understand what they were seeing, trying to decide if they should run or fight. Then all 3 pirate ships opened fire on the Valiant. Hostile fire incoming, Turner reported, his voice calm despite the situation. Impact in 3 seconds. Hayes did not flinch. Point defense engage. The Valiant's defensive systems came alive. Hundreds of small turrets tracked the incoming fire with computer precision. Streams of high-velocity projectiles filled the space between the ships, creating a wall of metal that intercepted every shot. The pirate weapons, designed to disable merchant vessels, could not penetrate the defensive screen. All incoming fire neutralized, Turner said. They look surprised. Show them what surprise really looks like, Hayes ordered. Main batteries target their weapons and engines. Disable only. I want prisoners, not corpses. Aye, sir, firing. The Valiant's main weapons were not energy beams or exotic technology. They were railguns. Electromagnetic accelerators that threw chunks of tungsten at incredible speeds. Simple physics. Simple materials. But devastatingly effective. The first pirate ship tried to evade. Its pilot pulled hard to the left, activating thrusters in a desperate attempt to dodge. It did not matter. The Valiant's targeting computers had been designed to track missiles moving at relativistic speeds. They could predict movements before the pilot finished making them. Tungsten slugs, each one weighing several kilograms and moving at a fraction of light speed, punched through the pirates' shields like they did not exist. Precision strikes took out the weapon systems first, then the engines, then the communications array. The entire engagement lasted 15 seconds. The pirate ship went dark, tumbling in space, disabled but intact. The second pirate vessel had better shields. They must have spent money on military-grade defensive systems, probably stolen from somewhere. The shields flickered and held as the first salvo hit. Interesting, Turner said. They have good shields. Adjusting firing pattern. The second salvo concentrated fire on a single point. The shields could not redistribute fast enough. They collapsed like a popped balloon, and the tungsten rounds continued through to the hull. More precision strikes, more disabled systems. The second pirate ship joined the first, floating dead in space. The third pirate captain finally understood the situation. His ship's engines flared bright as it tried to run. "Should we pursue, sir?" Turner asked. "No need," Hayes said calmly. "They are running directly away from us in a straight line." "Fire when ready," Turner almost smiled. "Aye, sir." The third ship made it almost 10 kilometers before the railgun rounds caught up. The shots were perfect, threading through space to find their target. Engines destroyed. Weapons destroyed. The pirate ship went dark just like its companions. Total time from first shot to last, 42 seconds. "Cease fire," Hayes ordered. "Status of the Kreth vessel? Shields have failed completely," Palmer reported. "But they are still intact. Atmosphere is leaking but not critical yet. They need help soon. Morgan, organize boarding parties. Send damage control teams to help with the Kreth repairs. Medical teams as well in case they have injured crew. And send Marines to secure the pirate vessels. I want those raiders in our brig." "Yes, sir." Hayes stood and walked to the front of the bridge, looking out at the scene of the brief battle. 3 disabled pirate ships, 1 damaged merchant vessel, 0 casualties on any side. This was what Earth's military was built for. Not conquest, not destruction, protection and precision. "Sir, incoming transmission from the Kreth ship," Palmer said. "Put it through." A face appeared on the screen. The Kreth looked like a large insect with compound eyes and mandibles that moved as it spoke. The translator turned the clicking and chittering sounds into words. "Earthship, this is Captain Zekthal of the merchant vessel Brightwing. You saved us. Our shields were failing. Another minute and they would have boarded us. They would have killed my crew and taken everything. You saved us." Hayes inclined his head respectfully. "Captain Zekthal, you are safe now. We are sending teams to help repair your ship. You will be able to continue your journey soon." "But why?" Zekthal asked, confusion clear in his voice. "Why did you help us? You are not Kreth. You are not even council members yet. Why risk your mission for strangers?" Hayes considered the question. Why did humans help strangers? Why did they risk themselves for people they had never met? It was a good question, and one he had asked himself many times during his military career. "Because it is right," Hayes said simply. "Because people needed help and we could provide it. That is reason enough." Zekthal was silent for a moment. "The council will hear of this. They will know that Earth kept us alive when their own security fleet was too far away. This changes things, Captain Hayes." "Perhaps," Hayes said, "but we did not do it to change anything. We did it because it needed to be done." As the transmission ended and repair operations began, Palmer interrupted with another call. "Sir, we are being hailed by Unity's Hope Station. Speaker Velton wants to talk to you. Priority 1. Hayes settled back into his command chair. "Put her through." Velton's face appeared and Hayes noticed something different in her expression. The fear was still there but mixed with something else. Respect, admiration. It was hard to read alien emotions. "Captain Hayes, we witnessed your intervention. The entire council watched on our sensors. I must say your combat efficiency is remarkable." The shuttle ride from the Valiant to Unity's Hope Station took 20 minutes. Captain Daniel Hayes sat quietly, watching through the window as the massive ring-shaped station grew larger. It was beautiful, he had to admit. Smooth white surfaces that curved and flowed like water frozen in time. Lights glowed softly from within, giving it a warm and welcoming appearance. Lieutenant Bishop sat across from him reading from her tablet. "The station was built specifically for this meeting," she explained. Every species donated materials and labor. It is supposed to represent unity and cooperation. Supposed to, Commander Morgan said with a slight smile. But right now it just looks like a pretty cage. Hayes glanced at the two Marines who sat at the back of the shuttle. Sergeant Kyle Murphy was a big man with red hair and a calm demeanor. Corporal Amy Chen was smaller, but moved with the precise grace of someone trained in hand-to-hand combat. Both wore their dress uniforms, looking professional and composed. "Remember," Hayes said to everyone, "we are guests here. Be polite, be respectful, but do not apologize for being human." The shuttle docked smoothly and the doors opened. Hayes stepped out first, followed by his team. The docking bay was empty except for one figure waiting for them. It was an Ashani, but not Speaker Velton. This one was male, shorter and darker than the speaker. "Captain Hayes, I am Kelvon, assistant to the speaker. Please follow me to the council chamber." They walked through corridors that seemed alive. The walls were not straight but curved, flowing into the ceiling and floor without clear boundaries. Soft light came from everywhere and nowhere at once. Bishop had been right. The design made Hayes uncomfortable, like walking through the inside of a living creature. Other aliens passed them in the corridors. Most stopped and stared. Hayes heard whispers in languages the translator could not process. He saw fear in alien eyes in body language that spoke of flight instincts barely controlled. "They are scared of us," Chen whispered to Murphy. "They should be," Murphy replied quietly. "Not because we will hurt them, but because they have never met anyone like us before." The council chamber was massive, a circular room with walls made of transparent material, showing the stars beyond. Dozens of aliens stood in small groups representing their worlds and species. Hayes recognized some from the intelligence files. The tall Ashani, the crystalline Velk, the floating jellyfish-like Prim, the insect-like Kreth, and many others he had never seen before. Every conversation stopped when the humans entered. The silence was heavy and uncomfortable. Speaker Velton stepped forward from the center of the room. She wore something that might have been clothing or might have been ceremonial decoration. It was hard to tell with aliens. "Welcome, Captain Hayes and delegation from Earth. We are honored by your presence." Hayes could hear the forced politeness in her voice. "The honor is ours, Speaker Velton. The people of Earth are grateful for this opportunity to join the galactic community. Please take your positions," Velton said, gesturing to one side of the chamber. Hayes noticed immediately that the space designated for Earth was separated from the other delegations by a significant gap. No other species was standing near it. They had been isolated, set apart like something dangerous that needed to be kept away from the others. Bishop saw it too. Her eyes met Hayes and she gave a tiny nod. This was intentional, a message. They took their positions, standing straight and professional. Hayes looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of as many aliens as he could. Some looked away. Others stared back with expressions that could have meant anything. Belton raised her hands and the room fell completely silent. "We gather here today to welcome a new species to our awareness. Earth and its people have reached the stars and requested membership in the Galactic Council. This is a momentous occasion, as it has been 70 years since a new species achieved faster-than-light travel and contacted us." Polite sounds rippled through the chamber. Hayes assumed it was applause or agreement in various alien forms. "However," Velton continued, and her voice grew more serious, "we must address certain concerns. The Council was founded on principles of peace, cooperation, and mutual understanding. All member species share these values. All member species have evolved beyond violence and warfare. Earth presents a unique situation." A Velk stepped forward, its crystalline body chiming softly as it moved. "Earth's history is troubling. Our analysis shows thousands of years of continuous warfare. Your species has fought itself in conflicts that killed millions. You have developed weapons capable of destroying your entire planet. You arrived here today in a warship. These facts concern us greatly." Hayes took a breath before responding. "What you say is true. Humanity has a violent history. We have fought wars. We have made terrible mistakes. But that history also shows something else. It shows a species that learns, that grows, that strives to be better. Every war taught us the value of peace. Every conflict made us more determined to find better solutions." "Words," another alien said. This one looked like a large bird with 6 wings. "How can we trust words when your actions speak differently? You bring weapons to a peace conference." Morgan stepped forward slightly and Hayes allowed it. We bring the Valiant because it represents our best, she said clearly. Our best technology, our best people, our best intentions. Would you prefer we arrived in something lesser? Would that show more respect or less? The bird alien seemed confused by this logic. Bishop added her voice, speaking in her academic tone. If I may, honorable delegates, Earth's evolution was different from yours. Our planet was harsh. Predators and prey existed together. In balance, but in conflict. Humans are apex predators, yes. But that does not make us evil. It makes us survivors. And survivors understand the value of cooperation better than anyone. Predators, the Velk said, and the word seemed to echo in the chamber. You admit you are predators. How can prey species feel safe with predators among them? Hayes stepped forward now, his voice firm but not aggressive. Because predators are not mindless killers. We are strategic thinkers. We understand cost and benefit. We understand that cooperation brings better results than conflict. Yes, we have teeth. Yes, we have claws. But we also have hearts and minds. We choose when to fight and when to show mercy. And who decides? Velton asked quietly. Who decides when mercy ends and violence begins? We do, Hayes said simply. Just as you decide your own actions. You ask us to trust you, species we have never met before. We ask the same in return. The chamber erupted in discussion. Dozens of aliens talking at once. Their translators creating a confusing mess of overlapping voices. Hayes stood quietly, letting them process what he had said. After several minutes, Velton called for silence. The Council will need time to consider Earth's application. We propose a provisional membership with conditions. Earth would join the Council, but with restrictions. Your military would be reduced significantly. You would allow Council inspectors on your worlds. You would accept cultural advisors to help guide your species toward more peaceful ways. Hayes felt anger rise in his chest, but kept his face neutral. You want to change us. To make us like you. We want to help you, Velton said, and she almost sounded sincere. To help you evolve beyond violence as we did. And if we refuse? Then we cannot accept Earth into the Council. We cannot risk the safety of peaceful species. The room was silent again. Hayes looked at his team. Morgan's jaw was tight with anger. Bishop looked sad. Murphy and Chen remained professional, but he could see their disappointment. This was the moment. Hayes could accept these insulting terms and bring Earth into the Council as a subordinate, controlled member. Or he could refuse and doom humanity to isolation from the galactic community. Before he could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the station. Red lights flashed. Velton touched a device on her wrist, listening to something. Her face changed, showing fear and confusion. There is a distress signal. A Kreeth merchant vessel on the edge of the system. They are under attack by raiders. Raiders? Hayes asked sharply. What kind of raiders? Pirates, scavengers. They prey on merchant ships in remote areas. Velton looked uncomfortable. This happens sometimes. Our security fleet will respond. How long until your security fleet arrives? Morgan asked. Velton hesitated. 4 hours. Maybe 5, and the Kreeth ship. Their last transmission said their shields would fail in 30 minutes. Hayes looked at Morgan. They both knew what that meant. The Kreeth crew would be dead or captured in 30 minutes. The Council security fleet would arrive 4 hours too late to do anything but find wreckage. We can be there in 8 minutes, Hayes said. Velton stared at him. You would leave the conference? People are dying. That is more important than any conference. But you have no permission. The Council has not authorized military action. We have protocols, procedures. You cannot simply attack someone. Hayes smiled coldly. Watch us, he turned to his team. Back to the shuttle, now. As they walked quickly toward the exit, Hayes heard the chamber erupt behind them. Aliens shouting, arguing, panicking. He did not care. The Council could debate and discuss while people died. That was their way, but it was not humanity's way. Humans acted. Humans fought. Humans protected those who could not protect themselves, even if the entire galaxy feared them for it. The galaxy had been waiting for 3 long months. 73 different alien species had sent their best ships to the meeting point near the Helios Nebula. Each vessel was beautiful in its own way. Smooth curves, glowing lights, and peaceful designs that showed civilizations who had forgotten what war looked like. They floated in space like artistic sculptures, waiting for Earth's response to their invitation. Then humanity arrived, and everything changed. The UES Valiant tore through space like a bullet through paper. The ship was massive, stretching 10 kilometers from front to back. It was made of thick titanium armor, painted in dark gray that seemed to swallow light. Weapons covered every surface. Hundreds of gun turrets rotated slowly, searching for targets. Missile bays stood open, showing rows of deadly firepower. The ship's power signature was so strong it could light up an entire planet. Captain Daniel Hayes stood on the bridge of the Valiant, watching the screens that showed the alien ships. His uniform was crisp and clean, his posture straight and confident. He had served in Earth's military for 20 years and had seen many battles. But this was different. This was first contact with alien life, and Earth had chosen to arrive in their biggest warship. Next to him stood Commander Lisa Morgan, his second in command. She was shorter than Hayes, but just as tough. Her arms were crossed as she watched the alien reactions on the sensors. "Sir, we are getting hundreds of messages," said Lieutenant Greg Palmer from the communication station. He was young, maybe 25, with nervous energy in his voice. "Most of them are panic signals. They are scared of us." Hayes allowed a small smile to cross his face. "Tell them we come in peace. Send them our diplomatic message." "Already sending it, Captain. But I do not think they are listening." The Vexian ship just jumped away. The Trill delegation, too. "They are running." "That is their choice," Hayes said calmly. "How many ships are still here?" 47 ships remaining, sir. The others are moving far away, forming a defensive line at maximum distance. Hayes nodded slowly. This was exactly what Earth's government had predicted. For 3 years, humanity had studied the Galactic Council. They had read every message, analyzed every cultural detail, and learned one important fact. Every single species in the Council had evolved from prey animals. Creatures that ran from danger. Creatures that ate plants. Creatures that had never known what it meant to hunt. Earth was different. Humans were predators. They had sharp teeth once, made for eating meat. They had eyes that faced forward, made for tracking prey. Their entire history was written in blood and warfare. And the peaceful aliens of the galaxy were terrified of that fact. The Earth government had debated for months about how to handle first contact. Some wanted to send a small science vessel, something friendly and non-threatening. Others wanted to send diplomats in a civilian ship. But in the end, they made a hard choice. Show strength from the beginning, or be treated as weak primitives who could be pushed around. So they sent the Valiant, and they sent Captain Daniel Hayes, a man who understood both war and peace. "Helm, take us to the meeting coordinates," Hayes ordered. "Move slowly. Let's not scare them more than we already have." The helmsman, a quiet woman named Lieutenant Kate Fisher, touched her controls gently. The massive warship began to glide forward, its engines burning bright blue in the darkness of space. Hayes watched as the alien formations shifted and adjusted. They were reorganizing their positions, putting more distance between themselves and the human ship. Some were powering up their shields. Others were charging their weapons, even though their weapons were designed for defense, not attack. "They are afraid," Commander Morgan said quietly, standing beside Hayes. "Good. Fear means respect. Fear can also mean hostility," Hayes replied. "We need to be careful here. One wrong move and this all falls apart." Lieutenant Bishop, Earth's alien culture expert, stepped onto the bridge. She was a thin woman with glasses and nervous hands that never stopped moving. She had spent 3 years learning everything possible about the Council species. "Captain, I have been monitoring their communications," she said quickly. "They are calling emergency meetings. Some species are demanding we leave immediately. Others are arguing about whether to attack us first." "Will they attack?" Hayes asked. "Unlikely," Bishop said. "They are peaceful by nature. Violence goes against everything they believe in, but they are also terrified. They see us as monsters." Hayes turned to look at her. "Are we monsters, Lieutenant?" Bishop hesitated. "We are predators, sir. We evolved by hunting and killing. Our entire civilization was built on conflict and warfare. To them, that makes us the most dangerous thing in the galaxy. And yet," Hayes said, "we are also the species that created art and music. We write poetry. We fall in love. We sacrifice ourselves for strangers. They only see our teeth. They do not see our hearts." The bridge was quiet for a moment. Then Palmer spoke up again. "Sir, we are being hailed by the Council speaker. They want to talk." "Put it through," Hayes ordered. A face appeared on the main screen. It belonged to an Ashani, one of the more powerful species in the Council. She looked like a tall, elegant gazelle that walked on two legs. Her fur was golden, her eyes large and dark. Her name was Velton, and she was the official voice of the Galactic Council. "Greetings, Captain Hayes of Earth," she said. Her voice was melodic and beautiful, but Hayes could hear the tension in it. "We welcome you to Unity's Hope Station. We are pleased you accepted our invitation." Hayes could hear the lie. She was not pleased. She was scared. But diplomacy required politeness. "Speaker Velton, thank you for inviting humanity to join the Council. We are honored by this opportunity and look forward to peaceful cooperation with all species." "Yes, cooperation," Velton said carefully. "We must discuss the terms of Earth's membership. There are protocols and requirements. Perhaps we should begin with your ship. The Valiant is a military vessel, is it not?" "It is our flagship," Hayes confirmed. "The most advanced ship in Earth's fleet." "And you brought a warship to a peace conference," another voice interrupted. A crystalline being appeared on screen next to Velton. It looked like living glass, refracting light into rainbow colors. "This does not suggest peaceful intentions." Hayes kept his face neutral. "With respect, we brought our best ship to show we take this meeting seriously. The Valiant represents Earth's capabilities and our commitment to protecting those we care about. We believe in honesty, not deception." More alien faces appeared on the screen, dozens of them all talking at once. Hayes could not understand most of it, but Bishop was translating quietly beside him. "They are arguing about us," she whispered. "Some want to reject our application immediately. Others say we should be given a chance. But they all agree on one thing. They think we are dangerous." Velton raised one graceful hand, and the other aliens fell silent. "Captain Hayes, please proceed to Docking Bay 7. We will meet in person in 1 hour. There is much to discuss." The screen went dark. Hayes turned to his crew. "Morgan, Bishop, you are with me. Palmer, keep monitoring all channels. Fisher, hold position here. If anything goes wrong, you get the Valiant out of here immediately." "Sir," Morgan said with a grin. "Are you expecting trouble?" Hayes looked out at the alien ships surrounding them, at the hundreds of weapons pointed in their direction, at the fear and suspicion that radiated from every vessel. "I am always expecting trouble, Commander. That is how humans survive." As the Valiant settled into position and prepared to send its delegation to Unity's Hope Station, Daniel Hayes felt the weight of history on his shoulders. This was it. This was the moment that would define humanity's place in the galaxy. They could become partners and friends with these aliens, or they could become outcasts and enemies. The choice was not entirely up to him. But he would do everything in his power to show the galaxy that humanity deserved a seat at the table, even if they had to arrive in a warship to prove it.